Welcome to the Rising for Women podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Merlo-Booth, and I believe the world will be changed for women when we change how we walk in it. So each week, we're going to have hard conversations. We're going to explore new options. Some of them are going to be hard options, and we're going to have some real straight talk. We're going to do that because I have faith that women can handle it. Hi, you all. Welcome to the Rising Podcast for Women with your hosts, Lisa Merlo-Booth, Dee Marcotte, and Arlene Newman. And our topic today is sex. So women and sex. So let's talk a little bit. Let's start where we always start, which is when it comes to sex, how and where are women playing small? What are you guys seeing in your practice? What are you noticing with your couples and your individual women? What are you seeing? Cis and non-cis women alike. What are you seeing?
It's interesting. I'm seeing a lot of, number one, women not liking what's going on or pretending they're having orgasms, but they're not. And anytime I say, so have you guys had a conversation, about like what? Oh, no, we're not going to have no. Oh, no, I couldn't do that. Mm-hmm. I'll hurt his or her feelings. Big one. Mm-hmm.
I love that you said that. Like, I was thinking, okay, what are the three things? What are the three ways women are playing small? Mm-hmm. And I like one of the top, if not the top, is they just don't talk about it. Right. It's like in their head, it's going on. They're annoyed. They're whatever. They're not happy with what kind of lover he is or she is. They're not, whatever's going on. It's in their head, and they may try to act out their feelings, but they're not going to do it directly.
Or they will avoid having sex. Or they avoid. It's like the old, I have a headache routine. Mm-hmm. I mean, 1,000,001 reasons they will avoid it because they're not really into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's two things I see with that. That's so interesting. Like, one is, they're not really that into it. They don't have the desire for a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. And another one where they will avoid either they're angry with it, not even angry with them. They don't like the way that I see this more with when their partner is a male, right? Mm-hmm. They don't like how the man gropes them, turns everything into sex, whatever. And so not only do they avoid it by saying, I have a headache, I see so many women where they won't hug them, they won't kiss them, they won't touch them, because if they do any type of affection, they're worried that the men are going to go to sex. And so they become so walled off and cold because really they're unhappy with their sex life or with how the man is showing up, but they won't have that conversation.
Absolutely. I see the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I see is that women turn off sexually. They become completely disconnected from their sexuality. And a lot of it can be related to body image, especially after they've had kids and they feel like they've gained weight, or as they're aging and their body is not how it was when they were in their 20s. Mm-hmm. So they feel like that's how I see them playing small, that they really get very self-critical about the way they look. And they don't feel that they're sexy, that they're appealing.
Yeah.
And they turn off. And it may have nothing to do with the way their partner feels about them. Very often, it's really in their own minds that mm-hmm. their partner does not feel that way. They may be aware of it, but they don't really care.
Yeah.
But the women are insistent, oh, my stomach is too big, my butt is too big, I've gained 10 pounds, whatever it is. And so when I lose the weight, maybe then I'll feel sexy. So that is really between women and their own heads, and not feeling entitled to be sexual if they don't meet some ideal body image.
God, that just opens such a big can of worms, Arlene. Oh my God.
Sorry about that.
No, I think that is so true. on so many levels. I'm like going like 1,000 places in my head right now, like, you know, one of the places is, you know, and this is hard. Well, part of what you're saying is the women are going there themselves. It's not even about their partner saying, I'm unattracted to you. I don't, you know, the women are going there themselves. And that's so hard because just culturally, there are so many messages to women about what is and what isn't attractive. And so much of women's self-esteem is tied into, right, men, you know, other people finding us attractive, that it's such a messy little thing to unravel.
And it's so important because we really play small. We give our power away that way.
Yeah.
Like we let somebody else define our attractiveness.
Yeah.
And we project whatever we've integrated, we project it and then we act it. And makes us play very, very small.
There's an extremely bold book called My Body Is Not an Apology. Have you heard of it?
No.
Oh my gosh. It's so bold. And on the cover of it is a heavy set, you know, Black female, and she's nude and so proud of, well, she's nude with a couple of like I think there's flowers covering up, you know, key areas. Right. But it's so bold. I love it. And she's like, like women, we have to start like just loving our bodies, and who cares, you know, if you're super thin or you know, heavy.
Well, we care. That's the problem. We care way too much. And
so much.
You know what I think about that often? I think about dogs. I think about seeing dogs. I see an old fat dog walking in the street. Do I think that dog is less lovable than a new puppy? Like, never would occur to me. If the dog is cute, I love dogs. I don't care if they're fat, right? Or if they're old. There's still, the essence is still there, and we do not treat ourselves very respectfully when it comes to this.
Yeah, it's so hard. You know, it's so hard.
A lot to undo here.
There's Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think there's also a piece in that, like it's hard to determine how I think we as women can begin to defend ourselves about a lot of things, because there's a whole lot of information that's come out about, like, especially with the Texas thing, that the abortion thing, that it's all about, oh, we're gonna to assess you, affine the woman, but there's nothing about the man.
mm-hmm.
Like, the man's the one who raped you, or, you know, it's like we don't do this on our own. Right. And so I think there's an underlying fear. Like you were saying, Lisa, it's in the relationship. It might be, oh, I'm not going to touch you because of this. If it's out in the world, well, I got to be like this, and this, because I would cause you to rape me or whatever. And so I think there's the things you guys were talking about the body image and sex. I also think there's just a fear. I mean, like, how can we try to make it so that men won't be attracted, or women? But again, mostly we're talking about, I think the harder part is often with heterosexual relationships.
So that won't be attracted to us? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a push-pull on that. I think I want their attraction, but I want to be safe, and I don't want their attraction. Right. You know, I often, this is why when you were talking about the weight, Arlene, I was going two different places, and then Dee, you're going there. So I'm going to go there with you for a second. So the weight piece, you know, I've had people in my office, and the women have been upset, or the men have been upset, that their partner is saying, I'm not as attracted to them because they have gained weight. And the partner will say, you know, you should love me for who I am. And I also have this other piece. What happens when we do gain a lot of weight? I'm not talking about a little bit, but gain a lot of weight. there is a way that it does create a buffer sexually. It becomes like I carry myself different when I feel heavy. I don't have the confidence. I don't want to be seen. I'm not feeling as sexual. Like there's a whole ripple effect to that weight gain that, and I do, and even with, it's known with sexual abuse survivors, some of them will often gain a lot of weight, and it becomes a physical barrier to it, and it helps them feel safe. So what a fascinating, idea you just brought in there. I think you're so right that fear, it's very difficult to talk about sex with women without extrapolating fear, because we know in so many, at every age, and really the younger ages in particular, I can't go to a bar, I can't dress too sexy, I can't leave my drink alone, I can't even trust, women are at the greatest risk with the men closest to them. So I can't even trust the people who are here. I've had couples in my office where the woman is woken up and the man was on top of her raping her, and he was her husband, like, and so I think that that's such a fascinating thing that we can't really, that is like underneath with almost every woman I know. And I say this to men all the time, and I've had this conversation with my husband. You can never understand that, like, you just will never understand that this is always the woman's plight when it comes to sexuality. Own your sexuality, but protect yourself, right? Like, you were dressing this way. No, he's not a rapist. He's a nice guy. Don't ruin his life. So your life is ruined, but you know what? Sex is enjoyable anyway. What, rape isn't really that bad. Like, all of these things that get tied up with sex that make it hard for women as well to really own their sexuality without the fear, without the hesitation. Interesting. All right, so we have where do women play small? They don't have the conversations. 1, they shame themselves with their bodies, so they have a hard time, kind of just being who they are and accepting who they are. 3, fear kind of gets in the way. I would say unconsciously is where they play small. If they are consciously acknowledging the fear and talking about the fear, that would be them showing up with a grounded, powerful strength. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Oh, one other thing I would say where I think women play small is they look to sex to prove they're worthy. And I see that at every age. Women get divorced and now they're like, I need to prove that I still have it. And so they want to have sex just to prove that they still have it. They want to, see that somebody's still attracted to them rather than knowing that they are. So I see women using sex as a way of them, feeling like they're worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if they feel like they've been rejected by their partner, right? For a younger woman, and they still need to feel like like what you said, like they still have it.
Yeah.
They still have the capacity to attract.
Right.
And it's very external. It's not about who they are as people, how they have evolved as a woman, and maturity and wisdom and experience, none of that.
Yeah.
It's what they look like. And that definitely is playing small.
Yeah. Okay. So those are some of the key ways that women are playing small when it comes to sex. There are so many others that we can talk about. These are the ones that we're seeing again and again and again. Let's flip it. So what can women do to show up with a grounded, powerful strength when it comes to sex?
One of the things I really liked, there was this couple, David and Lana, down in Arizona, and they used to do a workshop around sexuality in the couple. And one of the things they talked about was, of course, we were talking about you have to have communication, but one of the things was okay, so you have a session that's just like, this is just a, what do you like, what don't you like session. So it's all about her. And then it's all about the other person. But not at the same time. This is just about, yeah, I like that, I don't like that, a little to the left, but you have to have a session where you tell the person what really works for you.
Yeah.
And I think a huge thing, the book Come As You Are is a fantastic book for women. And I think even their partners to understand their own sexuality, kind of thing, in terms of this idea of what does turn me on, and that the majority of women do not have an orgasm if a penis is in their vagina. It takes extra and working with the clitoris and that sort of thing. So I think that idea of getting out of that, movie version,
Right.
kind of thing, to look at that. So I think just what works for you and what doesn't, and how do you really have an orgasm so that you can really enjoy it.
That's so, yeah, love that. Women need to, you have to know more and more what works for you. I mean, everywhere, and, in the bedroom and out of the bedroom, because, men can't read your mind. Women
Well, I
can't
was
read
just
your
going to say that we have to bring in men into this picture too, because I think there is a feeling for a lot of women that if they tell the men what they want, they're letting him know that what he's doing is not working, and therefore he's going to feel inadequate. And so they hold back. They don't want to, the fragile male ego gets in the way, and men do often find it very hard to hear that they think they should know.
So what I would say to that, grounded, powerful strength, women, it doesn't matter if men find it hard to hear. That's not your work. That's not your struggle. What matters is you being clear about what you want to tell them. And then your work is to say it with a clean energy. Their work is to hear it and manage their egos.
That's right.
Too many women are tiptoeing around the egos of men and their feelings. Stop it. When you do that, you're complicit with their fragility.
That's right.
And we can't do that. So I think that's such a great point. That's such a great point. Let the man be upset. Let him be worried. Let him be whatever. In that upset, men and women alike, that's where we learn. That's where we start looking at ourselves. That's where we're like, and let the men do the work. Just like you have to do the work to speak up, they got to do the work to hear it. So I love that. I love that, so grounded, powerful strength around sex. One, know what it is you like and clearly speak that to your partner, whether that partner is, male, female, non-binary, it doesn't matter. And know that you telling them what you like, it is not saying that they suck. It's just saying, this is what I like. And part of what I like is saying what I don't like. Go ahead, Dee.
I call it pretty much, we go at sex like we do when you get some new device, and so you just keep playing with it, and then you get frustrated because you don't know how it works. And I say, and then you have to go read the manual.
Right.
That's
so when the woman is going to tell you, she's just telling you about the manual,
Yes.
What a great image that is. That's great. I love that.
How would men know and how would women know? Like, we don't have your body and you don't have our body. They're like, of course you don't know.
And you don't know each other's minds either, because that's like 90% of it anyway. So I tell you, how on earth are you going to know? Why would you think you should know that without my telling you?
And if anything, I think it's super loving and super courageous for you to actually ask and be interested. Like, that's pretty cool. You're like, you really want to know what turns me on? Cool. Thank you. you know, and I want to know what turns you on, because I don't know. I don't have your body. I can imagine, but I don't know. So awesome. So that's one thing. The other thing, grounded, powerful strength, is women, you have to have the conversations around, if you don't like how your partner is treating you in general, you got to have that conversation. I had a woman said to me, so Lisa, like, how much time, when is it that, you know, let's say my husband was intimidating and bullying me. How many days is it okay for me to not want to be sexual with him? And so, like, that's such a great question for so many women. Women are like, but before he's going to say that I'm being manipulative, or that I'm just, you know, retaliating, or, and this is the other thing that women, like, you want to step in with a grounded, powerful strength. You got to fully, if you are not feeling like you want to be sexual because you don't like how he treats you, don't make that on this day at this time, I'm not going to be sexual, but then tomorrow I feel guilty because I said no yesterday. No, you say, listen, I don't like the way you treat me. You are emotionally intimidating to me. You're emotionally bullying me. I don't like how you treat me. And I'm not feeling sexual, not only today, but that's off the table until you treat me well consistently. And then no guilt. And he is likely going to say, oh, you're too sensitive. Oh, you're just being manipulative. Oh, you're being a prick tease. Oh, you like, so what? You check yourself. Am I doing any of those things, or am I genuinely honoring myself? So you want to step in around sex with grounded, powerful strength. It comes with what you want with sex, and also you saying no to sex guilt-free, and really raising the bar on how others treat you. You do not owe anybody sex, even your spouse. Women like really screw that piece up. So that's another
a
piece.
myth, right? Myth. It's a myth. I mean, women do feel, and men do feel that too.
Yes.
That's not how they're entitled, because if you're married, your job as a wife is to provide sex.
Yeah. Do you know, I had a couple, have you guys ever had this? I had a couple who put it in their prenuptial agreement that they would have sex. I don't remember how many times a week. It was in their prenup.
Oh my gosh.
Have you ever had that?
No. Ridiculous. Never.
Women, walk away.
Is that
you can't, no, you do not owe sex. And I had another couple where, you know, the agreement was, if I don't want to have sex, I'll agree to a quickie.
Ugh.
You can't, listen, sex is never owed, ever, 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 to the men, to the women, the cis, non-cis. You do not owe anybody in your life sex at any time. So you want to step in with sex with a grounded, powerful strength. You need to know that to your core and live that out. Women don't know that. Yeah.
Now, I want to bring this in because I don't know if we really touched on it or not, but I think women often don't know enough about their own sexuality, like separate from the partner, that they think that their sexuality needs to be ignited by the partner, or they have to have the chemistry with the other person, and they lose touch with what it means to have their own connection to their eroticism and their sensuality separate from their partner. I think that would be incredibly empowering for women to know that they have that regardless of their partner, or not even having a partner, that they can still be sexual and hold it and live it and feel it. Yeah.
We so normalize that for men. I think that is starting to change. I think more and more women are starting to have permission to know, like, learn about their body, what turns you on by yourself, right? You know, I think we normalize masturbation with men and boys all the time. It's just, and with women and girls, there's like a shame piece to that. And and if you were raised Catholic or Baptist or whatever, you have that religious piece, there's a lot of shaming as well. So that's a whole new, it's a whole new avenue for women to, you know, really start to explore their sexuality and what does that mean, you know?
To own it.
Yeah.
It's theirs, it belongs to them. And then they can maybe think about what they want to do with it with somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing I would like, the one caveat, not really on that, that's like totally true. What I don't like seeing women do is where they, it's like, I don't even know how to say this without people giving me a whole lot of shit. So I'm just going to say it. And
Go for it.
Right?
We can handle it.
You know, what I see, it's like too many women have become the bachelors of yesterday now. And what I mean by that is because they've been hurt by men, they don't trust men, they, you know, that now they're like, you know, I have the right to be sexual and I'm going to do that. And so they become sexual with everybody and anybody that they can, not from a grounded place, not from a place of confidence and self-esteem. It's about, you know, screw you, I'm not going to get involved with anybody and I'm just going to, you know, have sex everywhere. Or I want it to help me feel good, like with my self-esteem, I want to help me that way. It's not coming from that grounded place. And I wish women would really slow that down and pay attention to why you're making these decisions and be making those decisions from a place of confidence, self-worth, and that grounded, powerful strength, rather than, you know, an unhealthy place.
Mm-hmm. So not looking for their self-esteem to be validated by conquest, the way it used to be
with men. Right.
But to find that self-esteem. And if then you want to have sex because it's something that's going to feel good to you and nourish you, that's very different than feeling desperate and not enough.
Right. You want to explore sexuality and you want to totally cool, as long as you're coming at it from that place. And I think, you know, that's the tricky part. What were we going to say, Dee?
I was going to say, along with that, I think that part of that getting grounded in yourself is the idea about when, if I'm dating someone, when for me do I want to have sex?
Yeah.
You know, I cannot tell you how many people I've had and said, we're going to go on our third date and I have to have sex and I don't want to. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, but there is this like third date rule kind of thing. And it's like, no, I don't care if you want to wait 25 dates. That's up to you. And like we're saying, what's true for you? What's grounded for you? Where is your self-esteem? Where is your sexuality about that? And to be working from that place.
Yeah, it's not empowering. Yeah, it's not empowering at all for women to not be able to say no on their third date because, oh, you know, this guy is going to leave me or this woman's going to leave me. They might leave you. Good riddance. Like, you know, like I see that all the time. And there is enormous pressure in the dating community that is absolutely true. We are not dismissing that. And this is where women, I hate to see women, they keep lowering the bar and lowering the bar and lowering the bar because, well, everybody's doing it. And the third date, and they're going to think I'm prude and they're going to think I'm frigid and they're going to like, stop, tune in, tune out, tune into you. What is it you want? Tune out the world and how the world's going to judge you and what they think and whatever, and make these decisions from that grounded, powerful strength.
And know when those judgments are in you and are taking over so that you then lose connection with that powerful strength that lives inside of you.
Love that. Yeah.
Well, and you think of it, if I start out having sex from a place where I'm not really grounded and I don't want it, perhaps, or I'm not talking with you about what works for me. It's no wonder that 3 years in, I don't want to have sex.
Right.
You never wanted to in the first place, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like healthy entitlement. Really, we're talking about women's healthy entitlement.
Yeah.
Entitled to speak up. We're entitled to define what we want, when we want it, how we want it, with whom we want it. how
Right.
often we want it. All we are entitled to that.
Yeah. But only we can actually make that happen. Nobody else has the power. If we're too afraid to say it, or we're too afraid to upset people, or we feel guilty, like, it's up to us. All right. Challenge. What's the challenge for women? What's the challenge for men?
So I think, I mean, for women, we've talked about understand yourself, communicate that,
Yeah.
stay with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tune in, tune out. Like, who are you? What do you like? What do you want? And it's nobody else's, job to read you. It's your job to be explicit.
And I think if you're always like, no, I don't want to, no, I don't want to, that's a time that you have to look at you
Yeah.
and go, what's really going on here?
Right. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. No shame, no guilt, just what's happening with me. All right. For men, what's the challenge for men when it comes to sex?
Learn about the person you're with. You are not expected to be able to know unless you've explored and asked the questions and been given the information. It's not on you to guess.
Yeah.
And
Love that.
don't make it about your ego. It's not about your worth if you don't know.
Be a humble lover.
Curious and humble lover with passion.
Curious and humble. Yeah. Like, of course you don't know. Well, how the hell would you know?
Right.
Because even if you read it in books, you don't know about who you're with now. This person may like it different. Right? That's true whether your partner is male or female or non-binary, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't know because their body is different and they like different things. So be curious and humble around your sexuality.
But don't be afraid to be passionate with that.
Great. Love it. All right. There you go. That's this is your podcast on sex. Would love if you have questions, thoughts, feedback. As always, leave it in the comments, drop us a line, let us know what you think. And until next time, this is the Rising Podcast for Women. Thank you again for joining us this week. And always remember, you have the power to change the world for women by changing how you walk in it. I challenge you to choose one way to stand in your grounded, powerful strength this week and be part of the ripple of change.